here in a very strange looking place. This is actually a dry dock, and this is the dry dock where the Titanic has been built. And yeah, that was really long time ago. But this dry dock from the Thompson docks was actually still working 2001 or 2 or something around there. And today there was, 3 years ago, there was a bus driver in Belfast who actually won the lottery. And instead of just spending it and I don't know, whatever doing it, he was thinking there wasn't a distillery for 90 years in Belfast, and that's a little bit of a shame. So what he did is he said, yeah, I want to create a distillery. And he looked around and he found out that the Thompson pump house for these docks actually could house a distillery, and that's what they did. And in 2023, in fall, they actually got it running. I think they opened a little bit earlier, but they had problems with the licenses. I mean, the city didn't give out the license to distill for over 90 years since the Prohibition. So yeah, but now they are about 1.5 years running now, and that is really a good thing. And yeah, let's get in and see how the distillery is working. The distillery uses 100% malted and unpeated barley for the moment. They are open to doing something new in the future, but as they are not producing for that long, they have been committed to their single malt for the future, for the moment. So future might hold something different. What they do is 2,500 liters of wort, and they have a conveyor belt of already pre-crushed malted barley that they get from their suppliers. And their supplier is a local Irish supplier, and in future they also want to try to get locally sourced barley, so they can have batches of barley from their county, so they can be say that they're a bit more regional, but they tend to come from the island. It goes up through the conveyor here, and then you have a little bit of a whirlwind going on here, and it's mixed with the hot water to go into the pot. Inside the pot you can actually have a steam jacket, you have the rakes, so there's a good process of mashing, and you can get the maximum out of it to then have a good yield. The distillery has 6 washbacks with 2,500 liters of capacity, and that is really practical because you can have one mash being filled into one washback and then immediately start the fermentation with the yeast without the mash lying around. And what they do is pretty extraordinary. They do 120 hours of fermentation, although I kind of get there's a bit of a topic theme going on that smaller Irish distillers ferment really long, and so are they. What they are doing special is they also have a way of using distillers and brewers yeast, but they don't mix it. They actually, there's something called killer strain. One of the yeasts will actually be stronger and will just knock out the other yeast, and then you have just one yeast going on in there. So that is always a bit strange to use 2 kind of yeasts. So what they do is they use 5 times. They use distiller's yeast on the 4 times or 5 times. 5 times they use distiller's yeast, and on the 6th run they actually do use brewer's yeast, and it all goes batch into the stills, and it's only then mixed and matched inside the spirit receiver. So it's all going to be the same inside the casks, but inside the distillery you do have a variation within the taste of what they produce. These are the stills of the Titanic distillers, and they have 3 of them, and with their single malt they are doing the traditional triple distilled whiskey, Irish whiskey. But they told me, why is Irish whiskey really a triple distilled tradition? Why do they have that? And usually people say, it was because of way back in the days, the taxes, they taxed what just flowed out at the spirit safe in the end. So the Irish distilled really high so they could then dilute it down when the taxman was gone. And back in the days, in like 50s, 60s or something, they only had 2 distilleries left. And these 2 distilleries, by chance, made triple distillation. So that's why they had a long time of triple distillation. That's hence why triple distilled is the tradition. So does it really go back as far as the days of like illicit distilling and having a look at the taxation? You never know. Different people tell you different things. Anyway, so they fill the wash still with 2,500 liters. So it's not the capacity, that's the filling level. And then they distill it pretty fast. Wash still is always pretty fast. And this is a new distillery. So you can see the wash still is pretty hot and distilling very fast. You can see that by the dark color. And the line arm really, really dark. And the condenser just barely broken into. They will usually become a little bit darker from the top going to the bottom. Next up is the intermediate still. You can see that one's running a lot slower, a lot less hot. Therefore, it's a bit lighter. And what they do is actually they're doing also kind of a spirit run on the intermediate. So they do have cuts on the intermediate, which is not common. And also line arm very hot and condensers are not that really broken into. The spirit still is then also in the spirit process where they do the cuts. And in the end, what they do want to have with the 1,000 liters of filling in there, they distill it so the cuts have a lot of gentleness, fruitiness. That's what they are looking for here at the distillery. Filling is done actually, filling into the cask is done off-site, and they have a warehouse in the north, because here in the Titanic docks is a bit cramped for space. So space for warehouses is really a bit too expensive. Also the other parts of the city. So really warehousing is shipped off-site near the north coast of Ireland. The distillery does have all their stuff off-site. And these are empty. These are just for show how Dunwich style maturation is actually working. And they are to the north coast where they mature their whiskey. And what they do currently is they fill everything in these ex-bourbon casks because they just want to keep their options open. So ex-bourbon casks, first fill ex-bourbon casks, you don't do much, you can't do really anything wrong with that. A first fill ex-bourbon cask gives you a nice sweetness, gives you vanilla, gives you caramel, but the Americans don't do any sulfuring, they don't do any strange stuff. There's nothing that can go wrong. But with sherry and all the wines and all that kind of stuff, you can have sulfured casks, you can have really different problematic casks. So if you fill them straight into these casks, you might have some problems in the future. So it's really a safe bet to just use bourbon casks for the moment. And when they move along, they can have then later a finish in port, fino, sherry. Yeah, but they keep the options open. They say, hey, we don't always have to do that. We're a young distillery. They're finding their way and they're not bound by any really old tradition. So they can do whatever they want. Yeah, and that is really beautiful. So I'm sitting here with Peter Lavery, and you've been here at the distillery for 2.5 years, 5 years as a distiller, and 10 years with brewing and malting.
That's right, yeah.
So what did you do with brewing and malting?
So before that, I actually used to be a civil engineer. So
okay.
I took a career change about 10 years ago because I was passionate about brewing, home brewing, and took a leap of faith and started as a junior brewer in a local brewery. But being from a farming background, I was always interested in the materials, the barley and in that process.
Okay.
And from traveling abroad and different things, I seen like small craft brewers working with small maltsters, and I thought I would like to bring that into Ireland. So I developed a small maltings and supplied some craft brewers and some small distilleries like Cologne, and the love for it just grew from there. And 10 years later, I'm still here.
So did you buy a really big drum, or did you go shoveling?
No, it was all floor malting.
So, floor malting.
Yeah. So it was small batches, so 1 ton batches, spread out on the floor. And every morning and every evening before going to work, I would turn the barley and turn the malt. And at the weekends, I would, killing it. And
like a side business of shoveling.
Yeah,
okay.
So I was doing that in the mornings, and then my day job as a brewer, and then coming home in the evenings, doing it in the evenings.
But that's a good workout, morning and afternoon, like 1 ton of shoveling.
And when it's wet, it's even heavier. So
Oh yeah, you have 1 ton of barley and like, I don't know,
Yeah.
half a ton of water then.
absolutely, yeah. So,
So yeah, thank you very much for having us at the
my
distillery.
pleasure.
And so you've prepared a bit of stuff, and one is clear, so I'm really excited. So what are we having today?
So we've got a nice little surprise for you here. So in front of us here is our oldest maturing stock that we have produced here
Ah.
in the distillery. So a little bit of history in the glass there. We're the first distillery in Belfast since Prohibition. In almost 90 years there has been no whiskey distilleries in the city limits. So right here is our oldest stock. It's not quite whiskey yet, but it's on its way. And then we have our blended product, which is this bottle here. We have a new product that is literally on the bottling line as we speak.
So that's why hence this is actually packaging for this one.
Yes,
So
yeah.
we're
This is
missing like
missing this
bottle.
one, but it's on the bottling line as we speak.
Okay.
It's a 5-year-old pot still, and then this expression here won't be released until maybe August, September time.
Okay.
It is an 8-year-old single malt.
And this is not this one here. This is like
No,
like
it'll
this
be
one
similar.
here.
Yeah, similar design.
Okay, a lot of like behind the scenes here going on. I like it. So you said how many months did you say?
16 months, so that would have been cast in December 23, and then the sample was just pulled about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, this is really a bit of an in between, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
you do have a lot of new make spirit going on.
So it's still got a lot of our distillery character. So for our new make spirit, we tend to have like a really fruit forward distillate. We use a blend of both distiller's yeast and also brewing yeast to really sort of stand out from the crowd, really. And
Got it. Just a smidge of color.
yes, it has. Yeah, in the bottle sample, it is quite a lot of color. In the glass, it's sort of gone a little pale in the glass.
I like it, but it's really fresh, fruity, with a hint of vanilla, a hint of caramel. So there's a little bit of that bourbon cask going on, but just way less than I would expect from like a whiskey. This is a new make still.
Yes, it's technically not whiskey yet. It still needs another 16 months really or more to be 3 years in that cask before we can legally call that Irish whiskey.
Very round. Very round, very gentle. I like it. And fresh, fruity apple pears coming through with a good amount of sweetness.
Yeah.
This is a pleasant one to enjoy.
Yeah, we were pretty happy with it so far.
Is it cask strength or you water it down?
I watered it down a little bit.
A little bit. Okay, good.
I wanted you to be able to taste the rest.
I like it. So it's, did you say 16 month?
16 months, yeah.
How long are you gonna wait?
This jury's still out on that, but we'd like to hold on to it as long as possible, or whenever the whiskey's ready. So at the moment, our sort of wood policy is that we put everything into AB1s, and then we will do a stock take, see what way things are trending, how the flavour is, and if we need to, we'll add flavours in with finishes.
Nice.
So yeah, we're pretty happy with it. The cask hasn't overwhelmed the spirit, which I'm really happy with. They still get a lot of that distillery character in there, and we hope that will shine through.
But while we wait, I think you have a lot of stuff already brought out
yes.
from other distilleries.
Yes, so we source all of our whiskies from the Great Northern Distillery in Dundalk. So they have a large, broad range of distillates and spirits that we can pick and choose from and blend. So this core product here is our blend. So it's 72% grain whiskey and 28% single malt. And then within that, there's 5 different types of cask. So within the grain, we have AB1s, so ex-American bourbons, and we also have new charred oak casks. And then in the single malt, we have 10% peated malt, 15% double distilled, 7-year-old, and then 3% sherry casks.
Is it lightly peated?
10% of it is peated.
Okay, I was wondering if it was peated or not, but it feels a little bit like licorice, but a little bit like smoky licorice, or something like that.
Some people who are not accustomed to peated whiskies think, oh, it's very peated, but it's not. It's just literally a small ingredient, 10%. So we use it as like an ingredient as opposed to the main predominant flavour.
The thing is, the first few ppms give you the most flavor when you have the difference between, like, let's say 100 and 120. Literally no difference, but difference between 0 and 10 is noticeable.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of cask influence. It has a bit of a, you know, that like fermented cherry or some cherries in there as well. Like, it sounds a little bit like Montgerie. I like it.
I suppose personally, I feel like I get a lot of like figs, like dried figs, or like fig jam, and a little bit of honey.
But it's the smokiness in there, yes, with a lot of figs, jams, like a bit of dried fruits in there going on. But the smokiness really kind of comes on like a burnt flavor on the side, like a bit of a, I don't know,
it's almost like barbecue,
sear or something like that.
It's more like sort of like a campfire barbecue aromas rather than the sort of heavier, medicinal.
I think I've been to some, I don't know, it was artisan barbecue guy who was like, oh, you need to have it like really, really hot, and you have to put it on there, and it has to like burn instantly, and and that kind of smoke is in there. That reminds me of that guy. So in terms of the future, obviously you said we have like hopefully a little bit longer than 5 years for the first bottling, but what can we expect? Like, can we like go for a pot still in the future, or what would you want to do?
We do have plans to produce pot stills in the future. At the moment, we're just trying to lay down quite a bit of single malt for future bottlings. We also are planning on releasing a potching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so potching being traditional white spirit of Ireland, it's I suppose it's similar to like a new unaged new make, really, but with the intention of making it as a potching.
But is a potching, is that actually defined by the law, or is it potching just anything? It is defined.
Yeah, so we have a technical file. So we have a technical file for producing Irish whiskey. These are the rules set out by EU law.
Oh, they are.
It's the same for Irish potching.
Ah, okay, because I thought like potching is, the definition for potching is no tax.
Yes, well, I suppose before 1997 when it was illicit, it was there was pretty much no rules, and it was like local people had their way of making it in certain parts of Ireland, and in different parts of Ireland they had different ways of making it.
But I think you've said potching, is that like grain spirit, or is that other stuff in there as well?
So you can make it with like malt or barley and oats and rye, wheat, or you can make it with potatoes or with whatever substrate you have.
Okay, I think the rules are pretty loose.
Well, they're defined, but they are broad. Yeah.
Broad. Okay, okay, but okay. Doing fruits in the mash tun.
I think it was more like whatever the farmers or the peasants had at hand, they would have made a spirit with it.
Everything that's fermentable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Made our goal out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next one you said was what was it? 5 euro.
So we have here now as a 5-year-old pot still. So the mash bill is pretty straightforward. It's 50% malted barley and 50% unmalted barley in the mash. So very straightforward. So yeah, we're pretty pleased with this one. This is going to sit on the shelf as a core range with our blended here. In 5 years in ex-bourbon casks. There's no finishes. It's very straightforward, and we're really pleased with it.
Yeah, I hope it will be on the shelves of Whisky.de and Whisky.com when this video
soon.
comes out.
Yeah, very soon. It's literally on the bottling line as we speak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then probably it will be out with the video. If not, then subscribe to our newsletter to get it. No, but I like it. It's a bit more laid back than the first one, and also it has a little bit of more sweetness, more spiciness to it.
Yeah,
fruitiness is a little bit less, and it doesn't feel as peated as the first one.
Well, there's no peat in it.
There's no peat in
No.
it? Okay, then yes.
I think some people are getting maybe the char of the casks through.
Yeah, so it literally feels like an unpeated or maybe, cask.
So I suppose like famous examples of pot still whiskey would be the likes of your Redbreast. Sometimes we have to try and educate people that pot still is different from single malt, and this is why. So it can take a little bit of educating.
Beginning very sweet, and comes a good amount of spiciness to it.
Yeah, really on the back of the tongue there. Yeah, it wakes up your taste buds.
But how many ABVs do we have with that?
That is 46.
46, yeah, I was just about to ask. This is not a 41.
No.
This is a hefty one. Also, a lot of more volume. Yeah, obviously with the 46%. I like it. I like it. I think people will like it as well.
Yes, last year at Whisky Live Paris, we had a lot of feedback from like the European market. Really preferred the pot still.
But it doesn't feel like a triple distilled one, is it?
It is triple distilled.
It is
yeah.
triple distilled. Okay.
Yeah.
Still the spiciness.
Yeah, I suppose that would be the unmalted barley element. Really tends to give that sort of spice, almost like rye type spice, in the back of the throat.
Yeah, a little bit like that, but minus that pine freshness from the rye.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, minus that.
Less earthiness. Yeah.
Yeah, less earthiness. It's more of a like a baking kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like a gingerbread or something like that.
I sort of like whenever I'm tasting or sampling whiskey or nosing it, I always refer to food that it reminds me of, and to me it reminds me of like apple pie, like that sort of pastry and with the butteriness, but then also the cloves and stuff with the apple.
Depends on how much cloves and spicy that there are. A lot of apple pies were just sweet, bland, but like old school. Spice.
Specifically my grandmother's, it just reminds me of it whenever she opened it, take it out of the oven and cut it open. That's the aroma that I get. Just when I first smelled it, that's where it took me to.
Yeah, it's strange. I also have a lot of references of my taste from what I had in childhood. Luckily, you do have more of the grandma's pie. I do have more of the. Oh, this is like the candy then. Yeah. So I've been through these buildings and you're right next to like a big museum with a lot of tourists. Are they coming through a lot of tourists here?
Well, yeah, you can probably hear them downstairs at the moment, getting their coffees and what have you. But yes, we're very fortunate that we do have quite a lot of people coming to visit us here. So we do run 3 types of tours. We have the distillery itself, and then in through the wall there on the actual distillery floor, and behind us the pump house, or sorry, the dock, the graving dock. So we can do a tour of that as well as the distillery.
Going down there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you can do that separately. You can do it together, or you can do the distillery on its own. So we have a bit of flexibility in our tours.
So, but if there's like summer and they have tons of tourists, is it hard as a distiller to reach that valve, or?
Well, we're quite lucky in that our distillery is an automated distillery. So a lot of the processes are like on the deck below where the tourists would be, but we do be mindful. Like I check in with the tour guides, how many people are coming through and when, so I can make sure nothing goes awry. But no, we pretty considerate that we're not interacting on people's experience when they are here.
Okay.
It's not too loud that they can hear the tour guide and what have you, and I suppose the sights and the smells are like part of why you would come to a distillery. It adds to it.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure how that will turn out in the future, if there are even more people coming in. You said there are like cruise ships coming in as well?
Yeah, so some of the cruise ships actually just dock just straight across from the water here, so we do get them coming to visit, and we welcome everybody. We'll work around them, and I think maybe in the summertime we might maybe start the processes a bit earlier in the morning, so that we're not interfering with people.
But you do have a license and you can do tastings after the tourism.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so where we're sitting now, just behind us, we have our tastings. So at the moment, if there's large tour groups, we can split them so that some can do inside the distillery and some can do the tasting, and then they can swap.
Oh yeah, and I think I've seen downstairs a few cocktails as well and stuff.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so
so you're really for everybody's bunch in
Yeah,
here.
recently we have just started an employee who is like a mixologist, so he literally can go around different bars and stuff and recommend and develop cocktails based on our offerings, and we have our signature serves here in the distillery and cocktails available. Yeah, it's all part of it.
Okay, really good. So if you're ever in the area, I can highly recommend going in here. I find it very beautiful. You have your distillery really set up, very beautiful, like no pipes going right through the picture you want to take.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And like when you walk through the doors there into the tour, like right in your line of sight is the spirit still, so you can see the spirit flowing.
Yeah, that is really brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, the last one was, I think, 8-year-old?
Yes, so this is a product that we're releasing towards the end of summer, August, September time. It is an 8-year-old single malt, again sourced from the Great Northern Distillery. And the makeup of it is 70% is double distilled single malt in AB1s. There's 10% in new charred oak casks, 10% PX sherry, and 10% Oloroso sherry.
Okay, 30% sherry, 20% PX, and I was about to make a comment on that. There must be PX somewhere in there.
Well, 10% PX and 10% Oloroso.
Yeah, but it has a nice sweet flavor to it, but with a lot of berries and cherries. This really feels like, like picking them right from the
If we're going for those like associations with food, to me it's like Black Forest Gateau. It's got those cherries and summer fruits and then chocolate.
Now that you said Black Forest cake for me a bit. I like it. Oh, is this also 46? Because
it is, yeah.
Very, very round.
Yeah.
So this is a double distilled 46. That was good.
Yeah. So well, actually, the bottling strength will be 43. Just that sample you have is 46.
Ah, okay. Bottling strength would be 43. Oh, maybe even round because it's really not creamy round, like silky round in my mouth.
Yeah, we did a lot of like experiments and iterations of what ABV worked best, and we found 43 really amplified the sweetness on the nose, and then the biscuit, that sort of biscuit base of like a good single malt should be. I can actually smell it from here.
Yeah, but in my mouth, it's really sweet and nice. So I think this is a bit of a dangerous one when you have when you poured yourself a bit too much and maybe you drink it too fast.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's tasty. I think you can also a little bit identify, and it's a sipping whiskey, but it's really, if you have it on the side, be careful. That's a bit of a, that will probably be a bit of a fast one, I would say.
Yeah, we had a really fun experience trying to come up with these blends, and I couldn't decide between 3.
Ooh, okay.
And I asked about 30 people on their choice, and it came down to this one and another one. It was like 50-50. So it was a hard decision, but we just ended up with this one.
Okay, I think we're through. So thank you very much.
My pleasure, Ben.
That was really, really lovely here at the place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, thank you very much for watching. And if you like to find these whiskies, have a look at Whisky.com and Whisky.de if you live in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Austria, or Switzerland. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you know friends who might be interested in this video, please feel free to share this video with your friends, and see you next time.